Thursday on the Hill, we have live coverage from Fayetteville as the Hogs kick off the season against Cincinnati. Plus,
turned out to be a great looking Saturday. Only a few showers for the rest of your Labor Day holiday weekend. Very small chances of rain, not too terribly bad. I'll have details on what we can expect coming up in just a few moments.
NASA says another hydrogen leak is forcing its Artemis 1 rocket back to the shop for mechanical repairs. I'm Skyler Henry at the Kennedy Space Center detailing the latest Scrub launch and the next possible window for liftoff.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We're going to start tonight with breaking news. A wreck on I-30 eastbound has traffic at a standstill just south of Benton. So I want to show you a live look right now from RDOT's iDrive Arkansas so you can get a better idea of where that is. So let's take a look of some of their cameras right now. As you can see, traffic right there. We're moving around a little bit, but the traffic overall in all of these different shots is moving very slowly. We're looking for it going through all the different sites. And we also have viewer pictures that show the traffic as well from this accident. As you can see, multiple cars involved in this accident. So if you are needed to go through I-30 eastbound heading toward Benton, then you'll want to wait this one out or find another way around. Now I am here at the desk with sports anchor Sierra Clark because the Razorbacks opening up this season this afternoon in Fayetteville, taking on the Cincinnati Bearcats. It's been a huge day. We've been watching all along. You're actually still watching.
Yeah, I have the stream going on my phone, but it's been a fun ball game this afternoon. Here's a look at where we're at right now. It is 31-24 Arkansas. The Razorbacks lead in the fourth quarter. The Bearcats scored not too long ago to cut into that lead. Trey Knox has 2 touchdowns for the Razorbacks. He just moved up the tight end, so great game from him so far. The Hogs led 14-0 at the half before the teams traded scores in the third quarter. Biggest difference in this game has been the Cincinnati miscues. 10 penalties for 65 yards and a few missed goals. And of course, we're going to have a lot more highlights later, and our very own Ian Russell's there too.
Oh yeah, we're going to have live straight from Fayetteville in a little while once that game comes to an end. Just minutes away from that, but thank you so much, Sierra. I'm looking forward to hearing everything you've got to say today. I'm also looking forward to hearing everything Tom Baranin has to say.
Hello,
Tom,
ladies.
I know we had a
Good
sunny
afternoon.
start to our weekend.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for joining us this
Sure
weekend.
thing. Corrales has a little time off, so we've all been working and watching the game and working and watching the game. And we're all looking great in our red today.
Yeah, we got our Razorback red across the board. So what do people need to know for the weather outside during the game?
I'll tell you what, well, it's warm up in Fayetteville.
Oh, yeah.
It's warm here outside as well. We're looking at 85 in Little Rock. We've had a few showers and storms in eastern Arkansas. They are going to move across the river. There's a weak area of low pressure over the southeastern part of the state, along with a little bit of a frontal boundary. It's not going to cool us off much. Once that gets out of the way, the rain chances will die down a bit tonight, but we'll see scattered varietal type showers in the afternoon hours again for tomorrow and even into Monday. Check out your numbers. 83 Fayetteville, a warm day, very humid up in Fayetteville. 88 Fort Smith, it's 93 down in DeQueen, 92 Texarkana, 82 though in Batesville. And where we've had a few more clouds, temperatures have been down just a bit. Here's your hour by hour. For tonight, we'll see lows dropping into the lower 70s. It will be a little on the humid side, and between now and let's say sunset, we might see a pop-up shower close to central Arkansas. Looks great for the rest of your Labor Day holiday weekend. I'll have those details in just a few moments. Sarah, back to you.
All right, thanks, Tom. Now, for the second time this week, NASA has had to scrub its launch of its huge new moon rocket, Artemis 1. Skyler Henry explains what went wrong today and when the complications of planning the next launch.
This is Artemis Launch Control. Launch Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson just called a scrub for the launch attempt today.
NASA's most powerful rocket will have to sit on the launch pad a while longer after officials called off Saturday afternoon's liftoff because of a hydrogen gas leak.
It was characterized as a large leak.
It's the second time since Monday that leaking hydrogen put the launch on hold. The weather was cooperating early Saturday morning when the launch team began loading nearly 1 million gallons of fuel. But just a few minutes into the operation, engineers noticed hydrogen fuel leaking from the engine section at the bottom of the rocket.
The team tried 3 times to resolve the leak, and all 3 times we saw a large leak.
Citing safety, NASA called off the launch at 11:17 in the morning. 3 hours ahead of the launch window.
We're going to stress this and test it and make sure it's right before we put 4 humans up on the top of it.
NASA officials are going to meet next week to determine whether the rocket will stay on the launch pad or return to the vehicle assembly building for repairs. They'll also try to pinpoint a new launch date.
We're not going to launch until it's right.
Once Artemis lifts off, it'll send an unpiloted Orion crew capsule on a 37-day trip around the moon and back. A dress rehearsal that's another step towards sending Americans back to the moon as early as 2025. Thousands gathered along the Space Coast Saturday, hoping to see Artemis blast off.
I dragged my wife down here. We got here yesterday at 7 a.m. So we've been here quite a while. So it's kind of overwhelming that they scrubbed it.
But since it was a no-go, NASA officials are keeping their fingers crossed that the third time will be the charm. Skyler Henry, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
NASA says at this point, it's not sure what's causing the hydrogen leaks. In a process that could now take weeks, NASA engineers will be troubleshooting the problem. We are learning new info tonight after a suspicious death in North Little Rock is upgraded to a homicide. 69-year-old Matilda Howard was found dead Thursday night at a home on North Shear Street, which is between Pike and Percy Macon. Police are now asking that anyone with information contact them. You can stay anonymous, and we will keep you updated on developments right here on THV11 and THV11.com. Meanwhile, over in Benton, police have a run-in with a man inside their own building. A man allegedly entered the lobby with a gun just before 4:30 Friday afternoon. After negotiations, the man was taken into custody without incident. Thankfully, there were no injuries thanks to the more than 4 surrounding agencies who responded. Police say this is an ongoing investigation, and of course, we will also keep you updated. We will continue to update you on this as we learn more. After the Biden administration announced student loan debt relief, conversation has now started on what that means exactly. For instance, here in Arkansas, any money forgiven could actually be taxed. Latasha McKinney, the district manager at Liberty Tax, says all reports that she's seen has Arkansas listed among 13 states considering taxing that money. She says it's unclear, though, if that will actually happen. Applications aren't expected to open until October.
So even though that was released just last week, don't expect anything this week to just say you have a zero balance, or you have a less balance than what you did.
And remember, anyone who's received a Pell Grant could qualify for $20,000 in relief. It's $10,000 if you didn't. THV11.com is the place to go to stay updated on what happens next with this loan forgiveness rollout. And these conversations about student debt cancellation have brought another form of loan forgiveness into the limelight. The Paycheck Protection Program gave out loans to businesses during the height of the pandemic, and most of them have been forgiven. But do the two forms of forgiveness compare? Let's verify. Here's Casey Decker.
President Biden just announced a plan to cancel up to $20,000 in student debt for some people. When critics attacked the plan, the White House responded on Twitter by pointing out some of those critics had gotten even larger loans forgiven by the government. Those loans weren't student loans, they were Paycheck Protection Program loans. The PPP was created during the early stages of the pandemic to provide business owners with cash so they wouldn't have to lay off workers. According to the Treasury Department, as long as the loans were used to cover payroll, they could be, and often have been, forgiven. Recently, many people have claimed that the average forgiven PPP loan was much larger than the 10 to 20 grand in forgiveness that many students are now receiving. This tweet from Senator Bernie Sanders says the average amount of debt forgiveness to businesses was more than $95,000. So let's verify. Is the average amount forgiven for PPP loans greater than $20,000? Our sources, the Small Business Administration, the Department of Education, and the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee. That committee is a government agency tasked with tracking how pandemic relief funds get used. Out of a total 11.5 million PPP loans, more than 10 million were fully or partially forgiven. And the agency calculated that the average amount forgiven was $72,500. So where did Sanders get the 95,000 figure? Well, that was the average as of last year, when only about 4 million loans had been forgiven. Since then, millions of smaller loans have been processed, bringing the average down, according to the Small Business Administration. But when it comes to student loans, the max most people can get forgiven under Biden's plan is 20 grand. So even with the lower 72 grand figure for PPP loans, we can verify, yes, the average amount forgiven for PPP loans is greater than $20,000. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
And if you have something that you want verified, all you have to do is email us, verify@thv11.com, or just reach out on social media. And still ahead tonight, there are just seconds left in that Arkansas game against Cincinnati. Coming up, we'll have live coverage from the field with reactions and highlights. Tom?
Well, Sarah, outside it's been a beautiful afternoon after starting the morning with a few widely scattered storms. Now we're just looking at sunshine. Temperatures have been on the warm side. We'll talk about the rest of your Labor Day holiday weekend coming up next.